It's time. It's time. It's that Saudi time again. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Dangerous Jobbers Podcast.
People have been asking me why, Eddie, why?
I'm better than you.
Why I'm Director out in the back smoking a joint with their gang.
You know it.
All right, it is predictions time again. I'm your boy Stevie Jobber,
I'm your boy, Dangerous Duke.
and welcome back to the Dangerous Jobbers Podcast, putting wrestling over one podcast at a time.
Yes, sir.
And as good as the card as it's looking, we got to do the predictions for Saudi. We got to do the predictions for King and Queen, or Queen and King of the ring, whatever your preference is. It's that time.
It is. It sure is.
They're keeping with the global thing. They're keeping with this tight 5 match card that they did back when in France when they did Backlash.
Mm-hmm.
And off the bat, just I like the 5 match format. It's not too much. It's not too little. Every match counts, and it does make the pay-per-view cards a little more exclusive as far as all of the talent making the show. And I think it's good that I don't know. I think it's good that it preserves a small level of talent in case anybody gets hurt. There's still such a big roster on the back end. How you feeling about the matches?
I like the matches. I mean, I dropped a video, I think last week, talking about the 5 matches that we have scheduled, and on paper they look like fairly entertaining matches, depending on where this final bracket of the King and Queen of the Ring end up, how they could be placed. I still think the 5 match format that they're going with right now is really good. It conserves some of the roster that you have. You don't have to just use every single person on one pay-per-view and make it a big thing and risk hurting a lot of people. So it kind of keeps everything fresh.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And speaking of the brackets, let's talk about the final 4.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be determined through this week. By the time you guys hear this, at least the ones for Raw will be over, even though I think they might be a little predictable. We have Io Sky going up against Laya Valkyria, who is the NXT call up for Raw, and Nia Jax, the reborn Nia Jax, going up against a not 100% Bianca Belair. And before we talk about who we think is winning, Duke, did you see the rumor going around about Bianca being pregnant, possibly? And how much fun Angelo Dawkins seems to be having on Twitter with that rumor.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny that they announced, like, the rumor started coming out the night that she was wrestling, and Angelo Dawkins just started having a ball with it. Even Montez was having a ball with it. He's like father of 10 now on his on his Instagram. I thought it was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. They don't get butt hurt with the rumors that go around. They kind of just take them and run with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the way they're handling it, and it is kind of a way to like not dispel it, but just have fun with even the possibility. Like, I'm not gonna give you the satisfaction, but I'm gonna clown you about
Uh-huh.
it on Twitter. And I think that's probably the best response. I love how active people are on Twitter and like really getting their stuff off. It seems like it's bringing X back. Sad to say, even though I do like spending time on there, it does seem like when you have these good characters, that's a great place. Like, wrestlers have a great span on Twitter being themselves.
Exactly.
So that being said, Io Sky, Lyra Valkyria. First mini prediction. This will be the warm up before we make the show predictions.
Mm-hmm.
Who's coming out between Lyra Valkyria and Io Sky?
So I'm gonna say it like this: Io has the numbers game right now. Lyra Valkyria is the new call up. I kind of feel like they see a lot of promise in Lyra Valkyria. So I'm probably gonna do the wild thing here and pick Lyra Valkyria to make it to the finals of the Queen of the Ring.
I want to say that one more time for me.
I said I'm thinking I'm gonna pick Lyra Valkyria to make it to the finals.
That's bold. That's a bold pick. I was gonna go with Io Sky, but Lyra Valkyria has been doing very well. She's been selling really well. Uh, I'm not opposed to that. I think it could be Lyra. I think it could be
Mm-hmm.
Lyra. I'm gonna pick Io Sky for the sake of not embarrassing her,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like she should beat Lyra Valkyria, but I could see it going the other way, especially with how much heat Tiffany Stratton has been getting.
Yeah.
Um, but I tell you, I'm much more decided on the SmackDown side of things with Nia Jax versus Bianca Belair. Now, last week they were really selling Bianca hurting her leg for like the second time in a row, and it was really
Mm-hmm.
bad this time, and she barely pulled it out. And it's weird because I I was very surprised that Nia Jax ended up beating Jade and Bianca Belair ended up winning her match. I kind of
Yeah.
expected the other thing to happen. So that was a shocker to me. I thought, okay, Nia's gonna take the fall because they always have Nia take the fall, right? She never gets all the way there, and through some wonky DQ finish, that I have too much respect for those two women to pick apart. Nia Jax ends up winning via DQ,
Mm-hmm.
and Bianca Belair ends up pulling out the match even through the leg injury against Tiffany Stratton. So it looks like Bianca versus Nia. To me, the easiest thing to say would be, well, Nia Jax is gonna pick apart that leg. I feel like they've built Nia into Samoa Joe of sorts, and you just can't win less than 100%.
And you know what? I'm agreeing with you. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Nia's gonna pick that leg apart on SmackDown. Bianca's gonna try to go to lift her up to do some kind of move, and the leg's just gonna give right out. So yeah, I'm gonna agree with you that it's Nia and that in the Nia and Bianca match, Nia's gonna win, and our finals will be Lyra Valkyria and Nia Jax.
Which I would hope, as my first official Queen and King of the Ring prediction, that Nia Jax would beat Lyra Valkyria. Now, I do not like to get my hopes up about Nia because it reminds me of how you used to feel about Cesaro before he came to AEW,
Yeah,
where you just never wanted to believe because it never ended up happening. But I would expect Nia to win here, and I think if my trajectory for Nia Jax's career this year is what I think it will be, that this is just the beginning. This is putting her in place to be where she needs to start for the trajectory of her SmackDown career this year. If things are
yeah.
going where I would hope that they were going.
Now you know how much I shit on Nia Jax, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're still my brother, right?
Absolutely. 100%.
All right. Well, the shitting on Nia Jax stops here because I got Nia Jax winning the Queen of the Ring this
Let's
year.
go. Let's go.
It's a full circle moment for us. I've come to the side of the light, if you will.
Mm, mm. It's always better on the bloodline. It's
Yeah,
always better
yeah.
on the bloodline.
Yes, yes.
So Nia Jax wins Queen of the Ring. Do you
Hmm.
think we're actually getting Queen Nia, or do you think it's just gonna be like, is this a gimmick moment? Are we gonna get, instead of Tama Tonga, who we'll talk about later, instead of a King Haku, it'll be a Queen Naya. Do you believe
Yeah,
that?
I believe we can do that. I believe it's that time. It kind of makes almost a little too much sense, and I think Naya
Mm-hmm.
prancing around as a queen of the ring would be hilarious. So I kind of just it makes too much sense to have Naya win. Like you
Yeah,
can't not let her win because the storyline will just be hilarious going forward.
yeah. And imagine having a built-in army as a queen
Yeah.
with two other Tongans out there that might do some damage
Mm-hmm.
that we won't talk about. Uh, because if we say it, it won't happen.
Exactly.
But yeah, I project. I think we're correct. We should be correct. I would hope, Hunter, that we're correct. Then that Nia Jax would be winning the Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia. She's already has the bodysuit. I will also point that out. I don't know if that's of any significance, but she does already come with the bodysuit. So
Exactly.
I mean, who better to be booked to win in Saudi Arabia? Um, moving on to the King of the Ring. This one a little more difficult, and we talked a little before we started, and we seem to be at odds.
Yeah.
So this will be an interesting discussion. This might be where we run longer than the time that we thought we were gonna run at right here. We'll get
Mm-hmm.
into a rant that we didn't expect. Um, it comes down to Randy Orton against Tama Tonga, son of King Haku,
Match I never thought I would see.
and so happy for, so grateful
Yes, and we're getting it on a SmackDown.
to the wrestling gods.
And we're getting it on a
Okay,
SmackDown.
to God's gift of wrestling, Triple H on a SmackDown, which is finally the A show. We get Randy Orton after beating AJ Styles, okay, against Tama Tonga, one half of the Gorillas of Destiny. Um, and on the flip side of that, you have former Intercontinental Champion Gunther, who could possibly be getting the layup of a lifetime and winning the King of the Ring. Unfortunately, he has to go up against the Yeeter of Worlds, okay, the man that now owns the Fireflies. That being, okay, the main event, the Yeet Master, Jay Uso,
Mm-hmm.
with the momentum of gaining Fireflies in France.
Yeah.
Uh, will that be enough to stop Gunther? And a cherry on top, would it be enough to stop Gunther if the Wyatt Six R&D debuting? Would the Fireflies lose when the Wyatt Six are debuting? Is that possible?
So I know a lot of stuff is pointing to the Wyatt Six debuting very soon. However, I am leaning on the side of caution. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna believe it until I see it,
Mm-hmm.
and we haven't seen it yet, so I'm not believing it.
Honorable man. Honorable
Now,
man.
now with that being said, my finals prediction, and I'll explain it a little tiny bit. I'll start with Randy Orton versus Tama Tonga. Randy Orton already has everything he can get. He has money in the banks, multiple Royal Rumble victories, world titles, mid card titles, tag team titles, WrestleMania main events, you name it, Randy Orton's got it. And then you have the newly debuted Tama Tonga, member of the Bloodline, the MFT. I'm going to go here with Tama Tonga beating Randy Orton. Some trickery will be afoot. It won't be fair. Tama gets through to the finals. And then on the other side of the coin, Gunther versus Jey Uso.
Mm-hmm.
Gunther recently the longest reigning IC champion of all time, been on the streak of his life up until WrestleMania. Made it through these first couple brackets fairly quickly, might I add. However, given what happened recently with the backstage antics of Tama Tonga and Solo and Paul Heyman passing by Jay at Backlash, I'm going to say the finals. Jey Uso versus Tama Tonga.
Oh yeah. Why didn't I see that? Why didn't I see
And
that coming?
we ignite a little bloodline thing again here.
And this is why. And this is why. Like this is why. Because I saw it as what an easy moment to give Gunther King of the Ring and lay him right up into the world title. But who says we had to do that now? Who said this was the time?
Mm-hmm.
Why not, with all the momentum I just spoke about with Jay, you match that with the momentum of Tama Tonga to have a one chance occasion of Jey Uso uh, the dog of the Usos against the dog of the Gorillas of Destiny,
Mm-hmm.
Tama Tonga, the aces of their tag teams, squaring off on a single stage. Literally, careers paralleled to this moment.
Mm-hmm. Essentially, they've had the same
to put the
career.
bloodline on. To put the bloodline on.
And you look at their careers; they're very eerily similar.
This is why we work great together, because I will think logically, but sometimes it's about the story. It's
Mm-hmm.
about the moment. And that is what you have created. That would be a moment in time.
Especially just watching them two
Uh,
stare at each other. That's gonna be the moment right there.
and you definitely aren't thinking if Jay wins tonight, oh yeah, Randy's winning Friday. You immediately would go to, oh, it's going to be Tama. So I think the main event hangs in the balance this Raw that
Yeah.
some of you might have already seen. Um, but yeah, that would answer all the questions. Would it be the layup for Gunther, or would it be the bloodline connection? Would this be where we get Jimmy back? Would they try and beat down Jay? Very interesting things. All right, let's move on before we spiral out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's gonna go there. I can just tell. Okay, Intercontinental Championship three way. I just want to know what the story will be, because this is the difficult impasse we've reached.
Yeah.
Chad Gable is heel, but he's the people's champ.
Mm-hmm.
Sami Zayn is walking around pretending to be the people's champ because he was the people's champ last year.
Mm-hmm.
And neither of them really can lose. Both of them are sort of validated. In the middle of that, unfortunately, is wonderful talent, big Bronson Reed, and this Australian just finds himself as one big dude that is probably going to have to eat the pen for one of these guys.
Yeah, and that's this. Normally, this would be a good problem to have, but in this case, it's quite the opposite. Like you said, you have the guy pretending to be the people's champ. You have the guy who actually is the people's champ, and then you have the guy who's doing great stuff right now, but most likely isn't as high up on the totem pole as the other two. And it's a bad thing for Big Bronson Reed because I'm kind of agreeing with you. I think Bronson's going to be the one that eats the pinfall here. I feel like it's just going to be a big sequence where Sammy hits somebody with something, and then Chad's going to hit somebody. Bronson's going to be the guy who ends up taking that big final bump. And then I would say, what's Chad's move right now? Is it the suplex or is it the ankle lock?
It's the German and the ankle lock. Oh, it's the
Oh,
ankle lock. It's more so the ankle lock now, but it
okay,
was the
so
German.
I feel like what may happen is I'm trying to think of a way I can do it, way I can book this. Okay, so I'll say Bronson goes for that tsunami splash that he does, and then when he pops back up, Sammy comes in with a haluva kick some way, and then that's how Bronson gets pinned.
To go even further, I could see Chad having Sammy in the ankle lock,
Mm-hmm.
and then Bronson coming in like a bulldozer, taking him out, then hitting the splash, and as he's going up to hit the splash, Sammy's recovering on that bad leg, and as soon as Bronson pops back up, he hits him with the haluva kick. Because then it'll even paint more of a picture of I freaking had him again. I
Yeah,
had
because
him again, and somebody else got in the way.
I don't think Sammy's gonna hit Blue Thunder on Bronson. So I think
But
it's
what a
gonna have.
moment it would be if he did, though.
I mean, he could. I would prefer if he did the Blue Thunder bomb, but
All
I don't
right,
think he has that strength in him.
yeah, fantasy booking though. If he was to find a way to hit it, I would love for just a crazy moment in the ring. If Sammy is the one that hit the big blue thunder bomb on Bronson Reed, and then as he's like they're counting the 1 2, when he
Mm-hmm.
gets the two, if Chad would run in and deadlift German him from the pin position
Oh yeah, that would be.
for like a bridging German into
Mm-hmm.
another 2 count, that would be a fantastic move.
Yeah.
But we're doing fantasy booking. But great point. I think that's exactly what's gonna happen. Something's gonna end up happening that causes Bronson to eat a hell of a kick and take the pin.
Mm-hmm.
Because this Chad thing has to go to SummerSlam at the least. Because I really don't know how long Sammy's gonna hold this, because I don't really know if Sammy should be holding it.
I agree.
But that's a talk for another day. Um, but yeah, I think that makes both our picks Sami Zayn unanimously
Mm-hmm.
on some BS. But it'll be an entertaining match nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Women's Championship, Becky Lynch, our Women's World Champion, against a very fiery Liv Morgan, a very momentum filled Liv Morgan, very much the underdog, very much the people's choice. Um, I think Liv and the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour, on top of the seeds being planted with Dominic, are making for a very entertaining match. I don't think Liv will win just yet, but I do think this is going to be great storytelling. I think we're not in it for the match. What do you think?
Um, I'm. I don't know necessarily where this is gonna go. Like you said, the dirty dom angle and everything else, what have you. This to me is my bathroom break match. As bad as that sounds, like I love Becky, I love Liv, but this whole thing kind of just feels a little forced. It feels a little rushed. Whatever word you want to use.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, it was the wrong time for Rhea to go out. I'm gonna go Becky. I'm just on the safe side. She just got the belt. Can't really lose it right away. We're just gonna go with Becky Lynch here.
Yeah, I think my pick is Becky begrudgingly, but only because I think this is the beginning of Liv Morgan's arc and not the end of it.
Yeah.
So they need time to build that up. So she has to take the L early so she can be out of the next few months while they build into whatever she's supposed to be. Um, which I have no doubt will be entertaining.
It's just too early. That's all.
It's just too early. And shout out to her. I heard on Chris Van Vliet, and I appreciate the honesty in saying that she kind of had a chip on her shoulder for a long time because when she first came in, she wasn't good for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And she felt like she had just started getting it um, in the past few years. So it was hard
Yeah.
seeing some of the people that just kind of got it quicker than her. But I will give it to her because I watched for all of those years, and she was bad for a minute. She
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
bad for a minute. But you
But
don't hear a lot
again,
of people admit that. You don't hear a lot of people be like, "Yo, I sucked for a really long time," and it took a minute to get where we at, but we here, and
yeah.
I
It's
like,
all hard
yeah,
work and determination. That's all it takes.
man. So kudos to her. I wish, I wish some other people, but
One thing nobody.
that would be asking too much.
I'll give her this credit right here, and this is in no way. I hope nobody takes this in a bad way. You can tell she worked her ass off for years because, like you said, it was
100%,
bad. It was bad in the beginning,
100%,
but you can tell she's not lazy.
absolutely not.
That is one thing nobody can call her as lazy.
Yeah,
She busted her ass every single day from day one to where she's at now.
and I think we gotta give more credit to that crop of NXT that was just kind of like they just it didn't matter if they were good or if they were bad. They were hungry
Yes.
and they were in it for the long run.
Mm-hmm.
The Meechens, the Carmelas, the Liv Morgans, that crop of NXT
Ember
at
Moon.
first, the Ember Moons, that they didn't necessarily have to be all of the things, but they were working on trying to round out best they could.
Exactly.
And Liv Morgan had worked on that for years, and I think it took her
Probably longer
getting
than
every
anybody.
probably longer than anybody. Even Carmella hit it kind of earlier than she did, like much earlier, kind of. If you really think about it, by the time she had No Chin, she was kind of already there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it is interesting that it took her that long, but I think it took her to get everything and lose it to really hit it. Like now I'm in a place where I'm like I'm buying everything she's selling now,
Exactly.
even if I thought it was too much hype, but it was deserved. And to see the result of that in real time and the rebuild and where she's at now, I definitely think by like this WrestleMania, she'll be everything she's supposed to be.
Absolutely. I think that's a fair estimate.
But definitely Becky Lynch, definitely
Mm-hmm.
Becky Lynch.
With that being
Um,
said,
yeah. With that being said, and then we move on to the main event, the super fight, sponsored by Prime. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Logan Paul, the United States champion, one of the longest reigning United States champions in modern era.
oh god, we're not making that a thing.
one of the one of the biggest brands for the United States Championship, probably the biggest brand for the United States Championship ever. Um, and unfortunately, it is in fact Logan Paul, and he's going 1-on-1 with Cody Rhodes, the world heavyweight champion
Mm.
of the WWE, the undisputed WWE
WWE Universal Champion.
and they dropped Universal, so now it's just
Oh,
undisputed WWE champion.
okay.
It's because you can't dispute it. He's the WWE champion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the universe is out. I hear that's because Vince liked to live in his own universe. So,
Oh man,
so it's a Triple H thing. That
it's okay.
we disassociate everything with that guy. So now it's the undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes. Do you think? Because I'm not even really sure what the story now becomes.
Yeah.
Does it just beat him clean and they have a great match? Like, what is the story here? Is the big question.
I think this story is Saudi Arabia really likes Logan Paul. The Prince really likes
Yeah,
Logan Paul because why else would Logan Paul be in this spot as the U.S. champion? I get every so often, every 7 or 8 years or whatever it is, you have the U.S. champion fight the world champion, and there's usually dual titles. Seth did it, then Roman did it. Um, it's it's I'm just gonna say it's gonna be a great match. It is. I'm kind of upset that both titles aren't on the line, but I kind of liked how that whole segment went with the Prime Pansy going through the table and everything else. Um, I'm going Cody. There may or may not be some tomfoolery afoot,
I expect tomfoolery.
but yeah, I'm going Cody retains.
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting Tom to bring all of his foolery.
Yeah.
Um, but I am going with Cody Rhodes. I have a different theory for you though. I
Mm-hmm.
think Logan Paul again somehow begrudgingly has become another uh how do I put this? Another blessing for wrestling in the way
Okay.
that he is a perfect compromise. He creates a niche that is unlike any other. And I'll show you why that works perfectly for Saudi Arabia. I think it's because people do not like to admit how amazing Logan Paul is,
Mm-hmm.
but Logan Paul brings a lot of views with his fan base, as he will time and time again. So, where do you showcase a guy nobody really wants to see to his full potential without suffering from loss of views? And you put him on a show nobody wants to watch. So he can bring all of the people that want to see him, which will be more people that actually watch on a show that no one actually has to care about because we're throwing Logan Paul in it, so it's not like he's gonna win the big one, even
Yeah.
though he is United States champion. And we as a community now have accepted that he's amazing. A world championship match is kind of a throwaway if you're Logan Paul right now, and you would put a throwaway on the Saudi show because that would be the show no one would watch it, but it would still get views because it's Logan Paul.
Logan Paul. Yeah.
He is a perfect compromise, and as much as it and I gotta be real with you, it doesn't even pay me to admit it anymore because I think he's grown as a person and as a brand, and has gotten away from so
Mm-hmm.
much of that stuff that now he's like, it's much more of his character than who he is anymore. Um, so it is now, it just appears to be genius to me. Like they're good, but I think this is going to be a test for him. I'll say that though. Um, and I'll allow myself a little more time to talk because we at the end. Um, I say that because this will be Cody's not like anyone else he's faced before. He's very similar to a Seth Rollins, very similar in the way that Seth is an amazing wrestler who can tell amazing stories. That is what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And the heir apparent, or the uh, the Captain America to his Joker, would be Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes is different because his wrestling style, I think because he came more from Orton, is much more all storytelling, kind of. So he's gonna have to be in a situation where his athleticism is gonna shine, but the test will be how good of a storyteller you are at the core of it. How good are you at the art of wrestling rather than the wrestling? Because Cody don't do nothing but go out there and tell stories. That's his wrestling style. He's so old school that, you know what I mean? Like the flashing moves are the flashing moves, but they are really only brought out to tell the story. So
Yeah,
that'll probably be the biggest test. Is just to see if you can make a match that is entertaining, that tells a story. That's not just
flashy.
Logan Paul almost gets beat. It's flashy, and then the friends come out and the hooligans start, and you know what I mean.
Yeah,
They gotta
I
find a way to make that one grand thing.
I agree with that. I like the way you kind of just wrap that up in a nice little bow. I do agree this match is going to be more of a test for Logan because everybody knows Logan does the flashy stuff. He can jump really far. He can do the flips. He can do all the young buck AEW spot moves. Just to say it like that. But you
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you want to see if he
yeah.
can tell the story like a Cody or a Seth or a Roman. You want to see if
Mm-hmm.
he can actually be an in-ring storyteller as more of a in-ring flip person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is going to be a great test for Logan. Um, Again, damn shame both titles ain't on the line, but hey, it is what it is. Perfect layup. No, nobody's the wiser at the end of this. It does what it does. It serves its purpose, and we move on to better things right after it. So
Exactly.
I'm not too upset that it's happening, but I am going Cody Rhodes retaining on this one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's got to be Cody. If Logan Paul was to win, I
If
just I
Logan Paul wins, Triple H is really sending us through a damn loop.
dude,
Like,
we thought Seth Rollins was the heist of the century. That's gonna be the heist of the century. If Logan Paul goes into Saudi Arabia and comes out with with the WWE
with
Championship
both titles.
with his brand in the middle of the ring.
Oh my god, that's bad
Um,
juju right there.
but that just about does it for us, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. This has been the King and Queen of the Ring predictions. Duke, do you want to tell them where they can find us and take us home?
Yeah, sure, I can do that, ladies and gentlemen. You guys know the deal if you've been here before, but if you happen to forget, make sure you find us on all of our social media platforms. We have Twitter or X, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have the Dangerous Jobbers website.com, and you can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, basically anywhere you can listen to a podcast. You go type Dangerous Jobbers Podcast, and we are going to be the first thing that pops up. You will see both of our pretty faces right here talking to you about wrestling. But that's it for this week. Thank you for
Straight.
tuning in. Make sure y'all stay up. Make sure y'all stay blessed. And as always, stay dangerous.
People have been asking me,
To be the best in the world.
why, Eddie, why?